And we're live, brother. How you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good, man. Just trying to keep up with all of the recruiting news, both 22 and 23. Enjoyed a baseball game last night, all the way up until the bottom of the ninth. And we decided to win it off on a walk-off double, man. It was really, really nice. Just wanted to get on here for a few minutes today, man, do a little Sunday Scattershoot, talk a little bit about recruiting, maybe talk a little bit about that baseball game last night, and looking forward to hopefully closing it out today and moving on to Omaha, dude. How you been today, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. Like you said, trying to stay active, trying to figure out what's going on with the 23 class, mostly because that's who was there this weekend. Had a couple of 22 visitors again. We had Anthony Jones commit to the university. Athlete out of Las Vegas, Nevada. We'll do a commitment corner a little bit later on him. But just excited about where we're going. Again, we took the I'm not exactly sure what the cup is but for overall total sports programs, both men and women from Stanford. Read a tweet about that a little bit earlier that we finally got that after like 26 years of their dominance. But excited about what this football season is going to bring, what we continue to do in recruiting with the baseball team. I feel like Tristan Stevens is that guy with his tenacity. His fire is going to get us through 9 innings of good quality baseball tonight. We're going to find ourselves in Omaha next week as a second. Probably the one or two best team in the country at that point.
Yeah, I just want to talk about some of the content we put out over the last couple of days. So I believe on Thursday, maybe Friday, I think Friday we put out obviously a kind of a recruit, what was going on the 40 acres this weekend, both the 22 and 23 class. If you haven't caught that yet, go ahead and you have a chance, go ahead and watch that. And then we put out a transfer video this morning that covers, the 7 transfers. We counted Xavier Worthy in that as well, because again, he signed a letter of intent with Michigan, really a decommit that committed committed to Michigan and then decommitted and then recommitted to Texas. Kind of wanted to put him in there as one of those transfers. So if you haven't had an opportunity, go ahead and watch that. I did put a question up at the top of the chat, kind of asking who do you think the biggest thing is, who do you think the most impactful transfer will be this year? Defensive side, offensive side of the ball. Damn, Johnny Munoz is back. That has happened to caught my eye just now in the chat box. I don't know the last time I seen Johnny Munoz here, man, on live.
When
the Astros been keeping him busy.
Yeah, the Astros. If the Astros aren't playing, the Astros must not be playing right now because Johnny Munoz has made an appearance back. Henry's here. Good to see you guys. Let's get after it.
Absolutely, man. I'm waiting for Johnny Munoz to blow this messenger up, man. Keep it live. But again, we put that content out, and then, like Jeremy said, we worked on a commitment corner this morning as far as new commit Anthony Jones out of Nevada. Went over that, so that will probably be coming out tomorrow or Tuesday, and then we'll try to get back to our scheduled lives, next week. But just a lot of content coming out, man. If you thought that this weekend was intense when it came to recruiting and everything was happening on the 40 acres, really go back and look at what's going to happen here and how many official visits you got coming in really next week and in the following week, man. Those are the big weeks because those are guys are 2022 guys, man. So just kind of want to go through here real quick, man, see what we got. Lando 7448, people in Houston been talking about Ruben. Hopefully he can stay. I just don't see Ruben Owens going anywhere. I think he is the commit.
He's the Malik.
Go ahead.
He's the Malik Murphy of the 23 class. I believe that Malik Murphy is kind of pulling this 22 class along, continue to keep people excited in this 22 class, continue to try to get kids from both the West Coast and the guys inside the state of Texas to the 22 class. I kind of think that's Ruben for the 23 class. He's guys that committed early. He's a guy that's the best in his position for the 23 class at this point. And he's, like you said, he's bringing the Jontes, the Arch Mannings with him. Just fired up about Ruben Owens. And like I said, I don't think he's going anywhere at this point.
Yeah, it's funny when I was kind of looking at some stuff this morning. Obviously somebody says, Ruben and Manning are a package deal, and then now you got Jonte Cook involved in that. Obviously from our alma mater, DeSoto, one of the top wide receivers in the 23 class. Biggest thing for me is I went and looked at Clemson, Alabama's, and Texas's 23 offers today, and Alabama's offered 3 quarterbacks in the 23 class. Clemson, the only person they've offered in the 23 class at this particular point is Arch Manning. And that goes along with Texas. So to me, if you look at it, do I think we have a really good shot at getting Arch Manning? Absolutely. I think that your shot at this particular point is obviously 33% across the board, because I think those are the three teams that he's really, really looking at. And I think it's Clemson, Texas, and Alabama. And then as far as his relationship goes with Ruben Owens, it sounds like his parents, both, the Mannings and the Owens have a really, really close relationship. Obviously, they probably been at the same camps for the last probably 3 or 4 years. They go into the same places for official and unofficial, or really unofficial visits. So we'll kind of see where that goes, man. But really, really excited.
Yeah. So, guys, talking about Arch Manning, how many games does Texas need to win in order to get Arch here? I think it's that 9-10. But Clint talked on something. I don't know if he talked about it on the last live, but the name, image, likeness. The Mannings are very relevant, and they understand media. They understand being a blue blood program. You're talking about Peyton, who went to Tennessee, Archie, and Eli went to Ole Miss. So they're traditionally an SEC family, but they know that Texas is a blue blood. And to get Arch in the University of Texas program with this new name, image, likeness thing can go a long way towards that Manning brand, I would say. But he has to be a good football player. And he definitely showed in the workouts, from what we've heard, over the last couple of days, has really showed out in camp. Again, Jonte Cook called him the real deal. You got a chance to see him in videos throw a 70-yard bomb. So, yeah, fired up about what Arch can bring. But again, 23 is a long, long ways away. What I feel like is they need to win 9 or 10 games to continue to push the ball forward.
Yeah, as far as 3 commitments go, there's obviously, we've got a commitment from Anthony Jones. Again, we're not in the know who's where the commitments are, the next commitments are. Obviously, I believe it's 20, probably 2 to 3, 22 guys. Hope it's an offensive lineman, so we can get that kind of squared up at this particular point. And then again, when I going in, if you went and watched our precursor to this weekend's recruiting weekend, Sebastian Cheeks was probably one of the ones that I seen recruiting out of there. Didn't think too much about Anthony Jones, but if you go back and you look at that guy's film, man, he's a mauler. He's fast. He runs 4.74 for a 6'5", 245-pound guy. So if you haven't went and watched this film, go ahead and watch this film, and then come back and watch our video that we put out this week, going over the specifics of him.
I started smiling because I thought you were going to give our whole commitment quarter podcast there.
And then looks like, Mark Lever's asking about obviously Evan Stewart. To me, he is, and he will be by the end of this. Luther Burden's a damn good wide receiver. If you go watch his film as well, he's committed to Oklahoma. Looks like he's, looking at the hometown school of Missouri. But if you look at Evan Stewart, man, you look at who he is. I think by the end of this cycle, the 22 cycle, it wouldn't surprise me if he's not your number 1 wide receiver in the country. It's just his speed. And his elusiveness and his just the way that he plays wide receiver. It's funny because they put out a clip yesterday, him against Jacoby Matthews in that Under Armour, top 50, I think is what it's called, Future 50. And he made it look silly, you know what I'm saying? So I think he'll be number 1. But right now, I think Florida really did a number on him over the last couple of weeks. So we'll see where it ends and when it comes in and so on and so forth. I'm not really too much concerned about Evan Stewart at this particular point.
So yeah, Nick Evers is quarterback in 7-on-7. We know they have a great relationship. That's the reason why he went to Florida, because Nick is a guy who is currently committed to Florida. But he was the Under Armour Future 50 MVP this weekend. And when you look at the list of names that were playing in that Under Armour Future 50, he really set himself aside from great all-star receivers and defensive backs. That being said, Mike Roach put this out on the board earlier yesterday evening that Evan Stewart will be getting we'll have an official visit next weekend, the 18th to the 20th, at the University of Texas. So he's expected to be on campus along with this juggernaut list that includes Shaz Preston, Brennan Thompson, Armani Winfield, Jaden Blue, DeVoris Jones, Malik Murphy. He'll be a part of that group that attends and visits next weekend on the 18th.
Yeah. Again, I'm not so much worried about Evan Stewart at this particular point. I would I think right now, obviously, these guys are going to take their official visits. It's going to be a roller coaster ride. I can tell you that you got salty fans out there that didn't like the guys were enjoying, the 40 acres yesterday. It is what it is. These guys are going to take these visits. They're going to enjoy themselves. They're going to be treated like VIPs at every location. They're going to put on the uniforms. They're going to take the videos. They're going to do the photos. All those things are great and wonderful. But end of the day, some of that stuff wears off. Do they want to be closer to home? Do they want to play for their hometown school? How does it work out? So on and so forth. But I think we're good there.
I want to touch on something real quick that you were talking about, and is the early commits. Like when Mac Brown was getting his classes at Texas that were in the top 5, he got really early commits into a class. And right now you have 10 for the 22 class, which is really, really good for the beginning of the summer. But these kids didn't get an opportunity to visit campuses as juniors. So what you're seeing is, like Clint just said, they're going to go everywhere and they're going to put on everybody's uniform. They're going to put on everybody's gloves. They're going to take photo opportunities because, again, they owe that to themselves. The opportunities that most kids would have got as juniors, these guys didn't get. So that 22 class is going to really take advantage of this, the ability to take visits. And everybody is probably going to max out their officials. They're going to take unofficials where they can. Like Clint said, if they can get to a location in the fall that's close to them, that doesn't impede their high school football schedule or their class time, they're going to get there. So that's why you'll see a lot of guys outside the state taking official visits to Texas in the summer, and the other guys that are in state are going to save those officials for in season and fall and try to get to the Red River Showdown. They're going to try to get to games against Iowa State. They're going to try to get to games against Arkansas. But just like you said, it's a full-fledged, and it's our first year of seeing what it is to have a full recruiting season.
Yeah, so Peter DeGreat's asking any updates on Kelvin Banks. We kind of covered Evan Stewart at this particular point. Kelvin Banks is going to be another one of those guys that's taking its official this weekend on the 18th with that big class of 22 guys. I think the biggest thing you got going for you with this is you have an individual like Jaden Blue, you have an individual like Malik Murphy that are going to recruit. That's what they're going to do until this class is signed. Man, if you would have seen it yesterday, Harris had, he had like an IG live going, and Malik Murphy was on there the entire time. He asked him actually to join his IG live at one particular point. So they got relationships with these other recruits. It's just, it's just the continued drive of trying to get them to come to the 40 acres. But we'll kind of see where it's. I know he had a really good visit. It looked like at Oregon just recently. Kelvin Banks did. So he liked that Cristobal was an offensive line coach. He definitely liked that.
All right.
Go ahead, Jeremy. You had something?
No, just see, Working Man talked about Hawaii to Texas movement, and I know being stationed there for 4 years, the kind of football players they can produce. In Kahuku, St. Louis School, Punahou. There's 3 or 4 schools there that kind of are private schools. Kahuku's the one that's a public school that really produce dominant athletes, big guys, defensive linemen, linebackers, offensive line, generally come from that area of the country. And to get 2 kids here in their junior years that are supposed to be top level linebackers. Again, this coaching staff has shown that they'll go coast to coast and even go across the water to get the best kids, on campus and show them around to see if they have an opportunity to get them on the 40 acres and play ball. Those years of trying to stay inside the borders to get the best players that Texas has to offer, they're going to continue to do that. But they're going to also reach to the Virginias, the Nevadas, the Arizonas, the Californias, the Washington States, the St. Louis, Missouri. It is an area where we really are starting to recruit. And like I said, 163 offers, I think, for the 22 class at this point. They're leaving no stone unturned.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going through here, man. We got a lot of stuff going on. So people are asking us about the DFW area. That's where me and Jeremy are from, is in the DFW area. And I can tell you that Gilbert, obviously being a head coach at Lancaster before taking this high school position, high school coordinator position at Texas is really, really big. You had damn near the entire South Oak Cliff High School, I think, there yesterday. That's big. That's right smack dab in the middle of really Dallas there. So I wouldn't be too concerned with DFW with Chris Gilbert being there at the University of Texas, because he has really, really good connections to every one of those programs. And I can tell you in the South Dallas, really the Dallas area moving forward. Now it's really just, what you need, Houston's got a lot of players, Dallas got a lot of players, but at this particular point, it seems like you're recruiting from West Coast to East Coast, and then you try to get the best guys in Texas. And if you can't get the best guys in Texas, you go out of state and you try to get the best guys across the country. But I don't see it being an issue. You see any issues, Dallas, moving forward?
Absolutely not. Because it's a different coaching staff. Like I said, you create relationships at Samples. Reginald Samples, Rashad Samples used to give you in that Dallas-Fort Worth area. You've now created a relationship with Chris Gilbert, and he can recruit that area. Jeff Banks is a phenomenal recruiter. But again, what you're looking to do is not just go for a geographical area, but get the best football players for this university, whether it be, like I said, in Southern California, whether it be in Houston, whether it be in Louisiana, whether it be that Southeastern Conference. You're trying to get guys from Alabama, you're trying to get guys from Mississippi, you're trying to create the best 53-man roster, regardless of geographical location. But absolutely not. I think Dallas is wide open, again, because there's a newness, there's a freshness, there's a lively atmosphere around the University of Texas. They really care about players. They want to get the best 53, and you hope it turns into, like we talked about before, guys racing to get those scholarships, that they understand that there's only 6 scholarships to be given at receiver. And I want to be one of those guys. And like I said, they're leaving no stone unturned. They're bringing everybody to campus they think are championship level. And that's going to create, again, competition. Guys like Evan Stewart, who are freaking showing out at Under Armour 50 and then showing up to campus next week, are excited. It's exciting.
Mark Leopard's asking to start doing uncommittable offers like Saban does. I'm not sure how. I really can't figure it out at this particular point. I think the biggest thing for Sarkisian, I think he's a man of his word. He talked about it kind of with the quarterbacks. He's not going to offer you unless he really wants you, and I think that's important. And I think he said that with the quarterbacks. He's not going to just offer a quarterback just to offer a quarterback. That quarterback obviously has to fit a scheme, and I think that's what it's about, man. It's really not just, again, we're going to get carried away, by the 4s and the 5 stars. Who doesn't want the 5 stars? You know what I'm saying? Those are can't miss guys. Who doesn't want the 4 stars? Everybody wants to have a high 4 stars. But let me tell you something. If these defensive offensive coordinators look at someone that may be a 3-star, or Banks thinks he needs to get a long snapper there, or whatever the case may be this early. To me, that's what it's about. It's more about scheme than it is really offers or really stars.
And that's why I keep using the word championship level. Is not necessarily, we understand that 160 offers have gone out for the 2022 class. You can't sign a class of 160 guys. But what you can do is identify 4 or 5 guys at each position, regardless of what everybody believes their ranking is or their star capability is. And you've identified 160 championship football players, the guys that you feel, if you added to your roster, could take you to a Big 12 championship, and then conversely to a national championship or a Final Four run. So that's why I keep using the terminology, not 4 or 5-star, not top level recruit, but championship caliber. Is who are the guys that I can bring onto my roster that continue, like don't want to spoil our transfer podcast that we just put out earlier today, but who am I going to bring on my roster to benefit a position group, to make a position group better, to make a position group deeper, that on Saturdays when I line up, if my 1 and 2 linebackers get hurt, I got 3 and 4 that can come in and make plays, and there won't be a big drop off, because that's what you're looking to do.
Yeah, working man, can Jeff Banks recruit? I think he's outgoing, man.
Charismatic.
Very charismatic. And I think you have to be charismatic, but I think you also have to be real with people. And I think that what this staff really brings is you got to have personality, but you got to be able to not come across as fake. I think that doesn't help, man. But yeah, absolutely do. I think Jeff Banks, he's a charismatic guy, man. He's very, very charismatic guy. He's loud. He may be obnoxious, but do I think they have the recruiters there to be able to pull these guys in? Absolutely, man. Like I've said before, I was a recruiter. I did it for, recruited healthcare professionals. And I can tell you, people know if you're fake. And as soon as they realize that you're fake, they're no longer going to have that relationship with you anymore. So I think it's all about really gaining rapport, not with just the student athletes, but with the parents, moving forward and being who you are. And I think that's what people like about Sark, man. People know that Sark's got things in the closet and he's willing to put them out there. He don't have a problem talking about them. I think that's absolutely important. Yeah, supposedly Lincoln Riley went and I guess bailed out one of their players out of jail last night. Not really much to comment on there. I can tell you that if they do suspend him, he'll be back before the Red River Rivalry game. You can mark my word on it. That's a fact. That's a fact. Definitely won't miss that game. J-Bo, is it typically a factor if you have kids from the same high school? Would Shavian Sanders help us get Anthony Hill or Christopher Ross help us get Denver Harris? I think, yeah. If it's really like the Arlington Martin connection. Travell Johnson. Help me out with the Arlington Martin guys. Travell Johnson. Who else we got from there? And then you have like Taviano, who's in the 23 class, and then you got your guys that are already on campus. Yeah, do they know these guys? Absolutely. Did they grow up playing football with them? More than likely. So yeah, it helps to have those relationships. The other thing it helps is that when they come down, really on an unofficial visit, they have a face that they're already
comfort level.
Yeah, comfort level's already there.
Like you said, Maurice Blackwell paves the way for Travell Johnson, who paves the way for Jamie Taviano. A senior to a junior to a freshman. Again, like you said, when he comes down there, he's like, hey, where are the places that I need to go? Who do I need to see? They are comfortable with guys that they know. And that's what 7-on-7s allowed us. That we found out that 7-on-7s allowed these guys to do. Is I always thought that 7-on-7s were pretty much, location to location. But you got Jonte Cook, who's from DeSoto, playing with Evan Stewart, who's from Frisco, who's playing with Nick Evers, who's from Flower Mound, who's playing with Ashton Kozar, who's from North Richland Hills. So it's a DFW kind of feel. But yeah, absolutely. The Denton Ryan connection is real, especially since you got alumni who are on the coaching staff there. The Arlington Martin thing is real. Hopefully we start a pipeline that gets us inside Galena Park, North Shore, who's a juggernaut in that Houston area. Relationships mean something. Yes, the kids have comfort level when they come to the university because they have guys that are there that played with them. Absolutely, I think it's a thing.
Not to say that is it going to help them get them to Texas? Absolutely not. But it's going to help out to know that you have someone from your thing. Obviously, Denver Harris is going to make a decision based on Christopher Ross. Absolutely not. Denver Harris is going to make the best decision on what's best for him as a football player and being damn near probably the best cornerback in the nation, top 10 football player right now. Those relationships helps, but I don't think they're end all be alls of getting these guys to come to the 40 acres. No,
it's about, can we win football games and can they develop me to make it to the pros? We've talked about the 3 or 4 things that bring recruits to a university is, can they develop me? Can they make me better? And are they going to win while I'm here? Not necessarily a teammate, going before you is going to allow you to, or make you want to make that commitment to a university for 4 years.
Johnny Munoz, man, he said, that's me, charismatic, and he's pretty. Somebody asked him if he did his nails. He said, no, he does his eyelashes, is what he says. No, my eyebrows, not my nails. So he's got his eyebrows done. Good job, man.
Nice.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Lando said, I remember when Matt bailed out DJ Moreau before the Red River Rivalry. Yeah, those guys aren't going to miss those big games. I'm going to tell you, they're going to miss those non-com games where it really doesn't matter who's on the field. And Mark Leverett, I'm not sure if it's a violation or not. Look at it like this: he's trying to help one of the student athletes get out of a bad situation. Do I think anybody's going to hold him accountable for it? Probably not. I know there's some talk on Twitter earlier. How's that not illegal? Blah, blah, blah. How can you do that? And so on and so forth. And again, it's all speculation. I didn't see Lincoln Riley. I didn't see Lincoln Riley walk into the police station in Norman, Oklahoma, and get his guy out. I didn't see him write a check to the bail bondsman saying, "Hey, here's my check." So we'll kind of see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree on all those comments.
Who do y'all think the two other silent commits are? I don't know. I won't speculate. I think it's probably an offensive lineman. I'm going to go offensive lineman and probably I'm going to stick with probably Sebastian Cheeks, man. I think Sebastian Cheeks had a really good time. It's really between us. It sounds like Michigan, Notre Dame, and North Carolina at this particular point. So I'm going to say Sebastian Cheeks and probably one of the offensive linemen, either Sexton or Cole Hudson that was there. I think that's who I'm going to go with.
I'll take Cheeks and Cole Hudson at this point. Because Cole was there two weekends in a row. Again, he was there last weekend because Arizona State, his dad went to Arizona State, so he took in a baseball game against UT last weekend. And, of course, this weekend was his unofficial visit as a guy from the 23 class.
We got somebody listening to us from Kentucky. We appreciate it. He said he's listening to our shows all the way from Kentucky. Hey, we appreciate it.
That.
Really do. Absolutely. Might as well do a shameless plug at this particular point. If you have not hit that like button, please hit that like button. If you have not subscribed to our channel, we really appreciate it a lot. And again, we put out some content over the last few days. If you haven't had an opportunity to go check that out, please go check that out.
Somebody asked us about bringing Nick Harris, potentially like
KD35. Yeah,
go ahead. No,
that's what I was about to say. Yeah. Yeah. So, our idea is – go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead.
No, so yeah, we've been working it. We've been trying to set up interviews with a couple of guys from the 22 or 23 class. We're not going to let that cat out of the bag until we solidify those interviews. But working on more player interviews, working on collaborations, whether it be with Nick Harris. Brad Kellner was on the last live podcast and said he would like to do something in the chat. We didn't really reach out to him afterwards. But yeah, looking to do collaborations with multiple guys from YouTube, looking to do more player interviews if we can. And again, reach out to that team from 247 because we really respect their work and how hard they work because recruiting is a grind, man. I can see that. I don't frequent the boards on 247 and or IT or Orange Bloods ever. This was the first weekend I decided to do that. And 31 pages going back and forth between folks who read the page and Mike Roach and Harris and Taylor Estes and the work they do, just trying to get that latest and greatest information to bring it to you guys. Phenomenal job by them. So, yeah, we'd love to get Nick Harris on. We'd love to get Mike Roach on again and just collaborate with those talented individuals that are out there that are covering UT sports.
Yeah, to me, that's what really makes this channel, man. I really that we want to get people on here. I know we've talked to some people and they like that we do, the interviews with some of the guys in the 22, 23 class. We definitely enjoy that as well. And like Jeremy said, we've reached out to a few of those guys. They bring us back, but again, we want to do it on their time. These guys, they're busy right now, officials or unofficials and camps and all this other stuff. So we definitely want to give them their time. So we kind of just leave it open to them. Let us know when you want to give us a date and a time, and we'll kind of go from there. Nick Harrison, I can tell, probably won't bother, Roach or Harris. Probably for a few weeks, man. They got enough stuff going on with their own job at 247. But yeah, I can tell you that it's really, really nice to get those guys on. So any thoughts on college football playoff expansion? Jabo 499, appreciate your super chat here. Me and Jeremy have yet, we were actually, it's funny because we talked about college football playoff expansion for about 15 minutes before we had started recording for one of our other videos, and like, damn, man, we probably should just say this because I think we both can come to an agreement, but I think we're two different people on here. I don't even know if we're going to still do the college football expansion, probably. So we'll probably still do that video, but we'll talk about it. Any thoughts on college football expansion to 12 teams? I'm probably in the minority, but I don't like it because it makes the regular season less important. I can tell you I'm a traditionalist. I'm a traditionalist. Yeah, I'm a traditionalist, man. I truly believe there's a big difference between college football and NFL football. And what it is that every game counts. If you're one of those guys that loses a game at the beginning of the season, you're going to hope that you win out to give yourself a chance to win. But if you lose at the end of the season, you lose more than 2 games, the chances you getting into the playoffs is I enjoy that. And I think that's why I like college football more than I like the NFL, because every game counts. I can tell you I'm a Cowboys fan, and when you can get into the playoffs with a record that's under 500, what does it really mean? So just my thoughts on it. But we're gonna do a video. I'll let Jeremy kind of tell his little 2 cents real quick, but we don't want to give it all away because I think we're going to do a video on it.
We are definitely going to do a video on it because this is one of the times, very few times when we disagree. And he calls himself a traditionalist, but who picks the Final Four teams is not traditional. You got a 12-person committee who picks who those Final Four teams are, and they do it with non-traditional means through computers and strict the schedule. So I like the fact that if you lose a game early in the season, you have a chance to make it up, because I want those, whether it's 4, whether it's 8, whether it's 12. And I like the fact that they're leaving those 4 teams that they dictate are those Final Four teams. You have to, a matchup has to happen in order to play them. So I'm in the, hey, I love the 12-team playoff. I don't want to spoil our podcast because we're going to get after it. I feel like on that thing. But traditionally, tradition's out the window. Like I said, when you brought in the BCS and you started letting computers and strict the schedule and formulas dictate who the best 4 teams were at that time, 2 teams were, then tradition went out the window for me. So I like getting more teams involved. I kind of look at it like the NBA 7 through 10 play-in tournament, but I really don't look at it like that. I look at it like these 12 teams. I want a team like Texas, and I kind of talked to Clint about this, and I'm not going to say anything other than 2008, when you had the best team, I felt like, in the country, and you had beat Oklahoma 45-35 in the Red River Showdown, and then you had to play a juggernaut of 4 ranked teams, Oklahoma State, Missouri, and Texas Tech was that 4th ranked team, and you had to play them on the road, and you lost them in the last 15 seconds. You didn't get an opportunity to make up for that. And so I kind of chronicled it back to 2008. It allows a team like Texas in that 2008 team to have an opportunity to right that wrong with this kind of format.
Again, going back to it, it's each. Man, it has its pros and it has its cons. To me, does it allow for other deserving teams to get in? Absolutely. If you go back and look at the last 4 or 5 years, if you were to take the numbers they're looking at now, and you go back 4 or 5 years, there's not going to be very much different. A difference between the top 4, 5, 6 teams. The guys are going to get buys and so on and so forth. Do I think it's cool that it's going to be based on home field advantage? 5 plays 12, whatever the case may be. You play them at home. Does it create more money? Absolutely. Is it better for the players that are going to opt out versus probably staying in now since they have an opportunity to go into a playoff? Oh yeah, it definitely has its pros. But again, as a traditionalist, I don't know. It's just I liked the fact that if you lost a game, that it was that intense. You know what I'm saying? If you lost a game, the chances of you trying to get into the playoffs, it really, really hurt them a lot. So enough on that, because we're probably going to do a show on the new playoff expansion, or soon to be playoff expansion. We'll kind of go from there. Texas Homer in here. What's up, Texas Homer? Hey, if y'all have really good recruiting questions, I know KD35 is on here. He talks to a lot of these recruits all the time, so he could probably tell you firsthand knowledge what some of these guys' thoughts were coming out of their visits. I know he asked once, or somebody asked specifically about Hale, and I think that he told Steve Booth there. I heard he said he loved it. He wished he could spend a couple more days there.
And my mock asked about Malik Ogbo or the kid Green out of California, two offensive linemen. What I do know is Malik Ogbo was on the Instagram Live when Jones committed. And it's like Jones and Malik Murphy are working on guys like Ogbo. I think Ogbo said in that Instagram Live that he was really looking at Texas after he heard what Jones has experienced, the new commitment athlete out of Nevada, had to say about the university. Is that he's looking to come here and see what it's all about at this point. So we were one of his finalists. I think it was 12 or 16 list. Don't really know if he intended on coming, but it looks like he now has intrigue in checking out the university at this point.
Yeah, and as far as Green goes, man, again, that West Coast connection, you can't really take anything away from it at this particular point. There's a lot of guys from the West Coast that again, just like Texas, these guys play football together all the time. They know who they are. So for an individual like Green, or these guys that are up in Washington State, down in California, that are coming here in droves, I think they had there was a Washington State football 7-on-7 team that came here, just like there was, the entire South Oak Cliff high school football team that showed up this weekend. I don't know how many people they had on campus this weekend, but it was a whole hell of a lot. I don't know how they kept up with all of it, to be honest with you. I think, they told Sark where he needed to be at probably every 10 to 15 minutes. Hey, I need you to go check on this guy, go shake this guy's hand, make sure that you're seen here, because he can't be everywhere all the time. And probably everybody had their own responsibilities, but it seemed like it was probably 200-300 deep. It seemed like.
Yeah, the picture of the golf carts lined up kind of remind me of like a one hell of a golf scramble. Like you meet it on Friday afternoon and you're playing in a golf scramble. You see all these carts just lined up for days. That's kind of what that picture that got shot to us kind of looked like. Is, hey, these guys are going to be all over campus, and it's great. We're talking about University of Texas baseball team trying to get to Omaha tonight. For those guys that got to attend that baseball game, you don't want it to come down to 3-3, bottom of 9, and EK having to hit a 2-out double to the fence to win that ball game. But hey, if that's what keeps, again, it's an atmosphere. This fall was an atmosphere that you had to bring these recruits to, whether it be in the fall, whether it's a basketball game, or you want that electric atmosphere. You want the kids to leave here knowing that this community, this fan base cares about their student athletes and cares about sports. And that was an opportunity for them to see that.
Tex Homer said Arch also got a super nice golf cart compared to the others. Oh, I can imagine. And he had nice seats sitting next to it. Sounded like Sam Elliger and Sark last night at the baseball game, But again, like Jeremy said, man, it's all about the atmosphere. It's all about the atmosphere. It's nice that you actually got something going on campus in June when these guys are visiting.
Most teams don't have that.
Most of these universities right now are shut down and nobody's there,
Ohio State doesn't have that. Alabama doesn't have that. It's Texas has that.
Same thing with Clemson, man.
Right.
Yeah. So it's nice to actually have something going on right now on campus that these guys can actually see and get excited about and see what the fan base is, regardless if it's 7,500, people sitting in a baseball stadium. You have everything else going on around it that really, really matters. So
definitely agree with that.
Glenn Keller said, don't care what score is, survive in advance on a night where the middle of our lineup went over 11. We just needed the W. Absolutely, man.
Amen.
Lights out.
Yep.
Pitchers were lights out until the ninth inning.
Yep.
Pitchers were lights out until the ninth inning, man.
And that's what leaving Tanner in a little bit longer allows you to do, was save Cole, Kenton, Nia, and Nixon tonight. So I don't anticipate if Tristan gets in a little bit of trouble in the 5th, 6th, that you have a full evening of Cole, Kenton, Nia, and Nixon at the back end of that bullpen that are fresh and ready to go. CDC won the director. That was what I was looking for. Thanks, Homer. The Director's Cup for the first time in like 26 years. It got taken from Stanford, and that's a credit. If I was smarter on Twitter, I would have added or mentioned CDC when Hookham. I think Hookham was the guy that tweeted that out the first time that universities unseated Stanford, and that's the totality of a program, both men and women, whether it be swimming and diving or track or football or baseball or basketball. We know the big sports that we cover here on Texas Football Talk, but CDC's ability to keep the program relevant all year long, whether it be golf, like you said, there's very few teams that are currently playing on-campus sports at this time of the summer. And guess what? Texas is one of those. Why? Because CDC came and made the right hires in bringing in a David Pierce and a Mike White and those kind of programs that continue to win over and over and over again. Yeah,
it's a lot of your Olympic sports is where that really comes from, man. Not your really football or your basketball, baseballs, but really the Olympic sports is really where that's. And to unseat Stanford after 25 years is a pretty big deal, man. I tell you, man, CDC was a home run hire. But I can also remember back to about January time frame where everybody's ready to put CDC's head on a platter over this hiring situation, man. I can tell you, because we were living it. Behind this, we were living that thing, man. Everybody was angry. Man. And we get on here in lives and people talking about, I can't believe CDC failed to do this and blah, blah, blah. He's got to be the next one. He's got to be the next one to go. But hey, I'm gonna tell you, man, they've got everything. The enthusiasm right now around the programs is big. The enthusiasm around the football program is big right now, man. Which is if I don't know if I've had this much enthusiasm, really probably in the last 6, 7, 8 years, really excited about new coaches coming in and strong and obviously Herman and stuff, but it's, to me, the excitement, the enthusiasm is really, really exciting. It's crazy right now.
No, just keep building. We've been talking about that on every live show we've done. Let's keep the momentum going. Positive energy in social media, positive energy on these shows. Again, there's going to be stuff to nitpick in the fall. There's going to be stuff that, again, we've lived it. We went to a 7-on-7 tournament in Dallas and felt like that we had the best basketball team we had seen in 8 or 9, 10 years, and felt they could go deep in the tournament, and they lost in the first round to Abilene Christian. So there's going to be times like that. But right now, what did they do? They made a change. They brought in Chris Beard. He showed up and hadn't found a place to live in 10 weeks because he's done nothing but recruit since he got to the university, because it matters. And I think CDC is bringing in the kind of folks that it matters to, and they're not just taking a check. They're not just taking a check. They continue to try to push the ball forward and create this momentum, both football, basketball, baseball, to make this university what ended up happening today, win the Director's Cup.
Yeah, Mark Lever said he said, I admit I didn't like the hire. I've just kind of come to accept it. To me, it's not so much is specifically him, Steve Sarkisian, or I don't know if you're talking about Chris Beard or Steve Sarkisian. To me, it's about who did he get to surround him. That's the pieces I look at. It's not so much as who the head coach is, right? Because if you go back at Mack Brown came from North Carolina, but he knew how to run a program. One, he knew how to get recruits in. Two, he was a very personable person. Three, but at the same time, he knew how to get the best coaches around him. And I think that's what you have to do at a large program like the University of Texas is get those guys you can trust, right? That are going to be able to take care of what they need to take care of. Their position groups are on their side of the ball. And I think that's where they nailed it at. Not so much maybe the hire, because Steve Sarkisian came out of the blue. It was like, boom, okay, I'm telling you, me and Jeremy had 4 or 5 other names ahead of Steve Sarkisian. So did we think that he was going to be the hire? Absolutely not. But to me, them being able to go out and spend the money they needed to get the guys that he needed to be surrounding him, that had that championship caliber, that had worked at the NFL, that hell, you went and got a guy that had been coaching on the West Coast for 20 damn years. Nobody thought he was ever going to leave. And what did he do? He said he came here. He wanted to come to the University of Texas. He wanted to come to Big 12 because he wanted a challenge. And that's what's important to me. It's the individuals that want challenges, especially after they've been doing it for a long time.
And you're talking about a Choate and a Bo Davis and a Pete Kwiatkowski, and guys have been doing it for many years, Terry Joseph. You got young kids on the staff like Blake Gideon and the quarterback coach, but they believe in Sark, and that tells you something. And they believe in this university and the kind of athletes they can bring to it and how they can produce in the fall once they get them here. So folks were like, hey, be patient with Sarkisian, let him get his guys. Once he gets his guys, it's gonna take off. But we're gonna see, man. But like the BBs are in the box for the first time. It feels like in a long time somebody wrote that, and I agree with it. That everybody's pulling the same direction. We talked about that in the fall. That Tom Herman was probably the most non-accomplished coach in all of Texas program. When you talk about Mike White, at the time Shaka Smart, that have been to Final Fours and proven their abilities. But yeah, I think these assistant coaches have a long track record of being successful, and I believe that with Sarkisian at the helm and calling plays and that kind of athletes that we're going to be able to get in this program, we're going to be successful a while.
This is crazy. So we got a bet going on between Lando and Johnny Munoz here.
I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
I think it's TCU game, and then so he said, "I will bet you straight up $100." But then if I win, I think he said if I win, I'm donating towards the channel. So Johnny Munoz, if you win, you donate towards the channel, and it's a win-win for me and Jeremy. Okay, all right, sounds good. All right. The bet is on Johnny Munoz here.
Wow. I hope you win then, Johnny.
They got a bet going on here. I don't know if that's illegal or not, but hey, Tex Homer's working on a video comparing Starksburg's staff and Herman's staff. Herman's, and it's not even the same galaxy. Absolutely not, man. It's to me, and again, I don't know if CDC, because I liked Herman's second staff. I like parts of his staff that he hired, like Chris Ash. I like those hires. To me, I don't know if he had the same open checkbook that Sarkisian had when he made his hires the first time. I don't know what the business aspect was. Hey, no, okay, we're going to let you bring your guys in that you already know from Houston. You can keep these guys, or hey, here's an empty checkbook and have at it. You know what I'm saying? So I think Steve Sarkisian and CDC and President Hartzell, they looked at it and they said, Sark, here's our checkbook. Get whoever the hell you think you need to win championships here, and we'll provide the monies for that. I just don't know what Herman was able to do his first year. So, John Williams says, "You guys are my agents." Be careful now. I've watched 7 seasons of Entourage. Talking about agents, I've watched 7 seasons of Entourage over the last probably 3 weeks. So I don't think I'd be good at being anybody's agent, Johnny. To give you a heads up.
No, me neither.
Glenn Keller said he's going to the Louisiana game now. Lando said, I'll give 100 to the channel too. Johnny Munoz asked us if we have a Cash App. I'm not sure if we have a Cash App or not, because Johnny Munoz, man, he keeps asking about this Cash App. Do we have a Cash App?
I have a personal Cash App, but I'm not gonna have Johnny send me whatever he wants to donate to the channel in a Cash App. No, we're good, man. Like we just enjoy bringing content to you. Again, we got some things in the works. We kind of talked on it last podcast that we have some things in the works. We're eventually going to become affiliated. We have signed those contracts, so you'll see one commercial minimum at the beginning of our show because somebody's asked us to join the network. Again, we're excited about that opportunity, but we're more excited to continue to bring you guys the kind of coverage on recruiting, game days. We kind of talked about our schedule the last show, what it's going to look like in once the football season starts. But if you guys have an idea of where we're going, just look at this past week and what we brought. 2 live shows, something specific on recruiting, and then again we've got a commitment corner in the works as well. Just trying to bring you guys as much good content as we possibly can as we get ready for the season.
Yeah. So Glenn, I'm not going to disagree with you either, because his foolishness is what got him terminated from the University of Texas. I would definitely agree with you that he probably did think that his old staff was championship material, but that's just the way that he rolled. He could do no wrong. He didn't think he wasn't a relationship guy. So I'm definitely not going to disagree with you on that one. Even if they gave him the money to an open checkbook to get what he wanted to, he probably thought his guys were the guys to get the job done.
Yeah, and again, with him, it's accountability. It's more about making decisions he did in game and then not being accountable for it on Mondays with me. If you could accept that you made a mistake and tell us how you're gonna right that ship and be better the next week, then I think people will be patient with you, or more patient with you, and allow you to make those mistakes. But what allowed him to get fired was arrogance, in my mind. What was that he'd make mistakes on Saturday and then talk about a Sunday practice and not take accountability for it on Monday. So wholeheartedly agree. We'll see what this coaching staff looks like as they get ready to go in September in that Louisiana game and what it looks like going forward.
Johnny Munoz ain't gonna let this donation thing go, Jeremy. I'm telling you. So, look, Johnny, we'll DM you Jeremy's Cash App on Twitter. Okay, he says he's not. I'll DM you so you don't feel bad about it. He's like, I call myself Big Money Donor Munoz, and I haven't donated anything because I don't know how to super chat. I've tried. Laugh out loud. Like I said, it's not a big deal to us, man. It's really not.
No.
Again, we get on here to talk ball, man. And if people want to donate to the channel, we do appreciate it. We really do. And like Jeremy said, we have some opportunities coming up here around August timeframe. People have been asking us to do some other stuff, and I can tell you I think it's come to fruition at this particular point. More details come sooner than later, but we have some really good opportunities moving forward with this channel as it gets closer to football season.
And more importantly, what it will allow us to do, again, above all, is to take Texas football talk on the road. Like folks have asked us, hey, it's hard for us to sit down and watch an hour-long live video, video version. Can you guys bring this to audio? And that's what the affiliation is going to allow us to do more than anything else is open up other venues for you guys to be able to listen to us that doesn't lock you down for an hour to a video. And allows you to plug in on a device other than that requires video. You'll be able to take this in your car. So yeah, that's the most exciting piece for us is opening up Texas Football Talk, our family, to another venue. Because that's, again, we don't do this for any kind of monetary gain. Do it mostly to try to just educate fans, to tell them what we know, and then for you guys to get back to each other, which is what this channel's done for us.
So Knucklehead says, do you think Tom should have played Casey more? I think that was the really demise of Tom Herman's time at the University of Texas, is that he wasn't going to allow that to happen. He had made a decision that Sam was going to be his ride or die from day one to the day that he was no longer going to be part of the program. It's a decision he had to live with. Do I think that Sam did a fantastic job at the University of Texas? Absolutely. Do I think Casey has qualities that Sam did not? Yes. Do I think that Tom Herman's offense was geared more probably towards Sam Ehlinger running to the right side in the power run game? Absolutely. You couldn't have done that with Casey. Do I think that Sarkisian's offense is geared towards a Hudson Card and a Casey more? Absolutely. Because you have to have someone that can put the rock where it needs to go. Do I think Sam Ehlinger was able to do that? Absolutely not.
Diversification of his offense. Like, again, when you got up and you ran past and you didn't run the right guy. Like, especially this last year, when, again, we felt like all the cards were on the table. We felt like that Oklahoma had a freshman quarterback, that we had a senior, and we felt like that we had an opportunity to compete for a Big 12 championship. We didn't allow ourselves to play our best card, and our best card was Bijan Robinson. And he sat on the bench over and over and over and over again until Kansas State, and then he got an opportunity to carry the football, and he produced. And I think arrogance on offense, not willing to change, like you said, to run Sam into the ground was probably not the best, formula. And when you had the opportunity to change your formula and count on weapons like Jordan Whittington, Jake Smith, Bijan Robinson, you didn't. You continued to ran Sam up the middle, continued to have him throw 50-50 balls downfield to a large receiver in Colin Johnson. That just didn't work out over and over and over again. So just my thoughts.
So I'm looking it up here, but it looks like, and you can tell us what Crystal Ball came in for Cole Hudson. It looks like Luke Saunders just came on here and said Crystal Ball picked for Cole Hudson. It's taken 247. If it's on 247, it's taking them a while until you can actually see those Crystal Ball showing up. But if you're going by Twitter now, Mr. Crystal Ball himself, he actually does Rivals and he does 247.
Oh wow!
So the Crystal Ball on Twitter, which is a big deal, man, because he looks out to see if there's any crystal balls, and as soon as he gets them, he puts them in on Twitter. So looks like there's a crystal ball put in for Cole Hudson. Fantastic. Sometimes it matters who it is too. You know what I'm saying? Some of these things I take with a grain of salt. Talking to Mike Roach before and having a somewhat of a relationship with him, I can tell you that a lot of times he's not going to put a crystal ball in that one's going to spoil an athlete's commitment, and two, if he's really not sure that person is going to commit to University of Texas. But again, anything could change at any moment. They're 17, 18-year-old kids.
Yeah, Katie 35 came back and said it's from Jeff Ketchum. Again, credibility matters. That's why we don't put out a lot of people's business. Again, we've been working this weekend to get 2 interviews, but until those things are lockstep and they're happening, we're not producing that information. If we don't have the kids wholeheartedly committed to the University of Texas, we're not going to put out that information. So credibility matters to us. We're not going to just throw something out there to throw spaghetti on the wall and see if it sticks. Not saying that Jeff Ketchum's crystal ball for Cole Hudson's not happening. Like we said earlier in this podcast, we believe 2 guys, the 2 probably solid commits, like we feel, that are coming out of this weekend that haven't already committed, which is Jones, or a kid like Cole Hudson and a kid like Sebastian Cheeks. But we just hold that information close hold until we know it's going to happen.
Johnny Munoz said crystal ball has been kind of late lately. I don't know. Johnny, he may be a Houston Astros fan too, and he's caught up watching Houston Astros baseball. That's why we don't see you, Johnny. You know what I'm saying? We figured it out. There's no Astros game. Johnny Munoz is here. Hey, I'm not beating you up, Johnny. Hey, we're Rangers fans. They 20, 25 games they had. They won their first game on the road against LA last night after 16 games in a row.
Trevor Bauer. We could beat the Coles and the Bowers of the world. I don't know what we're doing against Bueller. I came in here just a second ago. I think it was 2-0, maybe 1-0 Dodgers when I came in here a little bit earlier. But no, he's definitely an Astros fan. He supports his Astros, and I'm all for that, man.
Yeah. So truth, we did talk about Anthony Jones a little bit. He was committed to Washington at one point, and he decommitted from Washington, and he did have crystal balls in Washington. I don't know if those were new crystal balls or just ones prior to him committing the first time. But we have a commitment corner video that we're currently working on for him. As soon as we're done with that, we'll push that out. That'll probably go out Monday or Tuesday in regards to Anthony Jones. I will tell you this. If you have an opportunity to go watch this film, go watch this film. He's 6'4", 6'5", about 250 some odd pounds, and he runs a 4.75. Very, very, he's an athletic freak. I think we're currently where you see him on 247 is they have him as an athlete, because I think some schools were trying to sell him on tight end. That tells you how athletic he is. But Texas was selling him on the defense side of the ball. That's why he spent majority of his time with Choate and Pete Kwiatkowski.
Oh yeah, he's definitely coming to play weak side linebacker in my mind. I'm just looking at my notes. I'll tell you one nugget: diagnose and dive. He has the ability to see the play in the backfield, and he gets where the ball's at. Is one of my nuggets for Jones. Like you said, he's 6'5", 242, and runs a 4.7. So getting those kind of athletes to the ball. Regardless of, like you said, if he's a linebacker or weak side defensive end, he's a guy that can get downhill quick.
Yeah, so Johnny said, when KD35 says the young man is committing, then I believe it. Hook him.
Yep. All they got to do is send us a DM, and I believe it. Yep, 100%. Yep. Hey, Johnny, those are no shots fired, dude. Like we're way down in the standings. Like it doesn't even matter. But we got a young team. I think all of our kids are, and talking about Texas Rangers, are all under 28 years of age. So we got room to grow. But we don't want to turn this into a Major League Baseball podcast, but definitely understand why you spend your time watching the Astros, because it's good product on the football or on the baseball.
Yeah. So Jabo 7997. So Sark said Jashavian Sanders will start on offense. See any Kyle Pitts potential there? Don't think he's as fast, but could be stronger. Definitely stronger. Don't think he's as fast as Kyle Pitts. But I think his probably he's going to make his money on the defensive side of the ball versus the offensive side of the ball. I truly believe that. That's where Jashavian Sanders is going to make his money. Just look at the guys that are being drafted in the NFL right now. Defensive linemen that can play inside, outside, backwards, forwards. I think that's where he's going to make his money at.
Again, I think it's like a Deshaun Jameson. I think just where he starts off may not be where he finishes. Again, if you guys remember, Deshaun Jameson, along with L.J. Humphrey and Colin Johnson, made a pretty formidable wide receiver combo in 2018. And then Deshaun Jameson, found himself on the defensive side of football the next year. So I think you're going to try to find your best 53. Again, like we talked about, your best 44. You're too deep across the front and figure out where his need is best for the team. And then ultimately where you can develop him to be a pro, like Clint said.
Yeah. So Landon said, good comparison to Pitts and Sanders. Just need to work on route running. He had trouble running and breaking routes. He ran no inside routes this year. Yeah, a lot of his – and again, it wasn't – every time he'd run a route against one of these guys at the high school level, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair.
No, he's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he's big, man. He's big. He's long. All they're doing is they're throwing it to the outside, and he would just go up and do these one-handed catches. Very, very easy.
And folks kind of got on me if you go back and look like probably a year ago, one of our first videos, which is Jashavian Sanders Commitment Corner, and folks kind of got on me about lack of technique, but he's so by far a better athlete than everybody else he plays against that he's not required to have technique. both on the offensive and defensive side. I kind of talked about he didn't have a whole lot of pass rush moves on the defensive side because he didn't have to. He's that far superior of an athlete against guys that he lined up against. And he would figure out your weakness very, very early in the football game, and he would exploit it, because he has a great coaching staff up there, Denton Ryan. There's a reason why they're in the state semifinals year after year or competing for state championships year after year, because the athlete is there and the coaches are there. But, yeah, I talked about that both on the offensive and defensive side when we got him, is that he's pretty raw at both sides of football. So these guys are going to figure out where he needs to be, and they're going to put him there.
Sitting here trying to keep my head on a swivel with all this recruiting stuff going on. It'd be nice to get another commitment. Before the end of before the end of the weekend would be really, really nice. Glenn Keller, Sanders out-talented every kid he played against. He would need to be developed for the sure. Absolutely. And like that's exactly what Jeremy's talking about. When you make it look easy at that level, and you're talking about at the highest level of football in the state of Texas, and you're making it look that easy, there's going to be some development that comes with that, because raw talent can get you through the high school game, especially as talented as he is. But he's going to need to develop definitely moving forward. But will his raw talent get him places? Absolutely. But this development will definitely make him that 5-star player he needs to be. You
got to have that first, right? You got to, in order to get to the University of Texas, you got to be pretty doggone talented, and he definitely has that skill set. It's just like you said, developing it to get at that next level, and making it look easy is a good thing. Like don't let me make it sound like it's a bad thing. Like, and there's a chance that he could do that against the athletes at the college level as well. If it always looks easy, it's easy. And why is it easy? Because you put in the work Monday through Friday to make yourself that kind of ball player on Saturday. But yeah, there's 64 guys in here, 40 likes. Please hit that like button. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. We're continuing to work hard for you guys as much as we can. Excited about tonight, man. 3 hours till first pitch. Kind of shaking, kind of getting ready. Like it's almost like a fall, experience for me. Like I'm fired up and ready to go, man. Probably gonna jump in the shower here. Probably take my wife to get some Italian food and then sit down and get ready to watch Tristan Stevens dial it up, man. I'm excited. Yeah,
Jeremy texted me about an hour before the game yesterday talking about I'm hit a talking about left field. At left field, I have a good time, be safe is what I told him. Because I can imagine he's probably going to be out there doing keg stands, taking shots. And as long as he has a designated driver to get back to clean Texas, I'm good with it, man.
The producer wasn't good for it, man. I was good for it. She was not good for it. She's like, "Are you at this late?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." And then, no, she wasn't as fired up about as I was. So we decided to stay here in Copper's Cove and enjoy it on the big screen and have a couple colds. But no, I'm glad we won. Cardiac kids that generally don't play that kind of baseball, but the South Florida team can pitch, man. We got to get up on them early and take the fight out of them. And I think Tristan Stevens is that kind of guy that can get it done. Again, we saved our bullpen. We have Quintanilla tonight. We have Nixon. Let's get it done.
All right, man. We had a good time hanging out for the last hour. Again, this is what we're going to do moving forward. Again, we got some content coming out. We already had some content we pushed out in the last couple of days. I can tell you that me and Jeremy are going to try to push out as much content as we can. We're going to try to get on here do as many lives as we possibly can each week. Obviously, time frame and work when work allows. But we appreciate y'all listening as always. We wanted to get on here at 4 o'clock tonight, get off at about 5 o'clock so we can do the things necessary we need to get done for the rest of the week so we can prepare ourselves for the 8 o'clock game tonight. So, put your link down there, man. Yeah, I didn't know you had your own YouTube channel, man, because I'll subscribe to it. Definitely subscribe to it and watch what you got on there. Definitely working, man. But again, appreciate you listening as always. If you haven't hit that like button, please hit that like button. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you know someone that is interested in University of Texas, information, sports, tell them about us, man. Tell them about us. Again, we appreciate you listening as always, and y'all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday and week. Hook 'em.